We're now going to do the driver compartment area and the bus startup section of the video and of the test. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go over here to the left, and we're going to talk about the silver switch that raises and lowers the tag axle. That's here. The fire suppression system, we check it with the green light that's back here, as well as the button that you would push to put fire extinguisher materials on the engine in case of a fire. There is the emergency brake button back here, which we'll talk more about in the brake session. Moving up, we get to where the mirrors are and the mirror adjustment. But to do that, the bus has to be running. So at this point, I suggest you start the bus by reaching up and clicking the silver key that's up here on the left side of the steering wheel. One click, allow the system to go through its computer check. We want to look right away to make sure that the ABS light came on and it goes off, and that the other warning lights go on and then go off. And we did, and the ABS light did do that, so that's part of the brake check that you have to have on your system. So we're checking that, and at this point the bus is ready to start, so we do the one more click. We make sure the bus is in neutral and that your foot is on the service brake before you start the bus. Now we can go back and check our mirrors. The one on the left checks, lets me know that that the mirror is moving. I can see clearly down the side of the bus. This button does move both mirrors, and both mirrors, there's no fogging, they're clear, they are attached, and I can see clearly to the rear of the bus. The other button is for the other side, both again the upper and the lower. By moving this, I can see that the mirror is moving, and I can see clearly to the back of the bus. There's no fogging, no cracks in the mirrors. They look to be solid to the holders. The next button above that is for the driver window, and it goes up and down easily. The next one is for mirror heat, that turns on the heat to the mirrors if there's icing. The next button is for the lock the baggage bin doors or unlock them. The next one is for the cruise control. This button must be on in order for the system to activate. The next one is for the front end kneeler to make it go up and down. The door has to be shut in order to make that work. The next button is both for the electric horn or the air horn. We'll get into the testing of the air horn in just a minute. I'm looking at my control panel for the transmission, and it is in neutral, as I said before we started the bus. Now we're going to go up here to the front switches to go through these front switches. Checking the switches in the front, I'm going to have my headlights on, my fog lights on. The next one is for my four-way flashers. My four-way flasher indicators are working, and I'm putting on the high beams, and the high beam indicator is working. I'm looking at my windshield wipers on the upper level. They are working. The blades look to be in good shape, and it looks to be solid to the window. I can check that by doing the next button is the washers for those upper windshield wipers. The washer fluid is there, and the wipers are working correctly. The next button is for my defrost, and that is working correctly. I am checking the next button is my window shades to make sure that they are coming down in the proper manner on both the driver's side and the passenger side. I am looking at my tire indicator, and it shows that all my tires are at the proper air pressure and that there are no problems there. I am pushing on the next button down below. That's my high idle. And then I have the button that is the emergency stop button. That's the red one over there. That takes me to the switches on the left-hand side. I am now going to talk about the steering wheel. The steering wheel is solid. There are no cracks. There's no breaks. And it is solid and the horn works. That's in the middle. On the sides are also where I would activate my cruise control on these knobs here. Also, as part of your steering wheel check, you also have to point out that the steering wheel has no play more than 10% of center either direction. I am checking I'm turning off my four-ways, and I'm putting on my left turn indicator. The inside light indicates that it's working. I'm turning on my right indicator by pushing up. That says that my right indicators are working. I'm turning on the lower wipers. They are working. The blades look to be solid and attached good to the windshield. I am going to push on the windshield wiper washer, and the washer fluid comes out and the wipers clean the window, so that shows that they are working in a good shape. Looking at my front dash here, the top left gauge is my turbo indicator. As I go down the road, it shows that the turbo is working because it's showing the pressure that's using and it works. The next one below that is my water temperature. My water temperature is at the correct operating temperature of just about 180. Below that is my oil pressure. My oil pressure is at 50 pounds, which is the proper operating pressure. Above this is the tachometer. It's at 10,000 RPM, which is normal for the high idle on. The next below that is the DEF indicator, letting me know that the DEF, DEF, is full of DEF fluid. Next up is the parking brake indicator. It's part of my brake test, and I'll go into more details, but it does indicate that the parking brake is set right now. Next to that is the speedometer, and the speedometer is at 0 because we're not moving. Once I start down the road, I will check that. The next below that is the fuel indicator, and it shows that it's full of fuel. Next to that are the two air indicators. The front air indicator is at 120, which is the proper operating temperature. The rear brake air indicator is at 120, which is the proper amount for the rear brake system. On the right hand side, I do have a sticker that shows that I am 12 foot 4 inches. These are the door operator. This closes the door on the left, and it opens the door, the red button on the right. Below that are a set of switches. This is the driver light. It is working. I am looking at the aisle lights. They are working. And I'm looking at the reading lights, and they are working. This is a fan to blow air down on the passengers. I can hear it. It is working. This is a chime for the passengers to indicate they need to stop the bus, that there's a problem. That is on and working. This is the climate control system here. This button here is for the driver, and this is the fan speed here. This is the passenger side that I set for the comfort of the passengers, and it indicates it is working as well. Below that is entertainment. That's not part of our testing system. That takes care of everything on the dashboard area.